Now we're taking a look at part 3 of my World War One collection. And I'm going to just begin here. This is a Wargamer magazine. It's the Battle of Łódź. I know it looks like Lodz, but it's Łódź. So this is in Poland in 1914. Fairly detailed game here. It has weather, supply, Russian coordination or the need to coordinate, and a lot of like little detailed modifiers like machine guns and things like that that affect the combat results table. I have not played this game, but it is a game that I would really like to get to at some point. Okay, I have this Lurs from the Fire and Movement system. It's a Decision Games folio. This is 1915 in the Western Front, and it's each turn represents, I guess, is 2 turns equal 1 day in this game. So that's kind of what the scale is at. It is has bombardment adapted to World War One levels from the Fire and Movement system. And it also has an interesting little rule on observation aircraft to help with spotting. So I found that was an interesting game. I'm fairly sure I wrote an article on that game. Then we have the Meuse Argonne. This is a 1918 battle, and each turn in this game is 2 days worth of time. So uses the Fire and Movement system. And I also have Vimy Ridge from 1917. This one's slightly adjusted. It's 3 turns equal 1 day of time. And it has an interesting little Red Baron rule in there. Apparently the Red Baron was running wild here, so he's worked into the game to show the devastation to, the aircraft. Then I have another folio here from Decision Games, Coronel and the Falkland Islands. I have not played this, but I understand it's quite fun. This game, basically a playthrough of the game represents 1 day in time and the events of that day in 1914. At least that's what I understand. It's something I have no excuse to not get that game to the table. And I have this game. This is from Strategy and Tactics number 280. It's called Soldiers. I haven't played this. I was originally going to write an article on it. But in this game, a turn is like 5 to 10 minutes of time. So a playthrough of the game is kind of 1 day in the trenches in 1918. So it is a game that I was looking forward to trying at some point, but I haven't got to it yet. Now I have another one from Strategy and Tactics. This is number 69, and this is Tannenberg. So it's an Eastern Theater battle in 1914. This is a fairly detailed game. I know it's like 3 days go by during the course of 1 turn, and it has a lot of chrome in it. It's got railroad movement, railroad cap, supply, stealing supply from the trenches. It has a command control, particularly the issue between the conflicted Russian armies and their ability to cooperate. It has special rules for the von Hoffman headquarters, and it has rules for groups on the Central Powers side. So it's an interesting game that I would be looking forward to playing sometime. I have this game. This is introductory from Der Weltkrieg, Tannenberg. I've never played it. Someday I might get to it. I know many people find that system fascinating. This is Strategy and Tactics number 125, The Far Seas. And I believe, it covers like a period of time in 1914 in the naval campaigning. But I've never played it. I understand it's a good game. I know Gilbert Collins has talked highly of that game. So maybe, well, that's probably why I have it, and I will give it a shot someday. Here is a game from Command number 25, When Eagles Fight. This is a game designed by Ted Racer, and I remember playing this back when it came out, like in 1993 or 1994. And this covers the war in the East from 1914 to 1917. It's a fairly detailed game, has beautiful components. I really enjoyed this one. Some of the special rules in that game involve Russian ammunition shortages and how that can, conflict with the best laid plans. It also has random events, and it does have a devastating event in there, the Verdun event. So eventually that event can wreak havoc in your game. This is the Kaiser's War 1918. I think it's from issue 161 of Strategy and Tactics. I know I wrote an article on this game for Moves Online quite a while ago. And this has a lot of nuances in it, but it really covers the end of the war and with the potential to going into 1919. And it does have some interesting late war developments as random events in it. For example, there's air power and air bases. There is naval bombardment. It has psyops, infiltration, combat supply, and a lot of other details. It's a Joe Miranda game, so it's kind of what you would expect from him back in the the early 2000s era. This is an Avalanche Press game, Infantry Attacks, August 1914, and there's over 30 scenarios in here. This goes along the lines of the Panzer Grenadier system and adapted to World War One. So it does have some plotted artillery fire as part of the game, which is a little bit different. But if you like Panzer Grenadier, you'll like this game. It's along the same lines. Then I have this one from the Gamers. It's Operation Michael. I guess this is MMP. And this one is standard combat series. So if you're familiar, it is true it's adapted toward World War One, but this late in the war there was some mobile movement, and it does have some special rules for gas attacks. So I found that interesting when I played it. I'm sure I wrote an article on that game at one point. And I also have the second game from the Standard Combat series. This one is called Rock of the Marne. And this game, I believe, is also 1918. And this has rules in it for air combat and as well as gas attacks. So haven't played Rock of the Marne, but someday I would like to get to it. Okay. Some more from Avalanche Press. These are all naval games. This is the Great War at Sea, the Mediterranean. Definitely have played this. I'm sure I've written articles on a couple of scenarios out of this. As with most Avalanche Press games, there are a lot of scenarios. Some of them are actually pre-World War One, but from the navies involved in World War One. So there's a lot in that box. And if you've never played the Great War at Sea, it's kind of an operational game, but then when you make contact, you can transfer your ships onto a tactical board and play the battle out. And I'm fairly sure there are rules to do the combat, kind of like using I've lost the word there, but a battle board. There we go. Sometimes it comes out slow. Battle board makes the combat a little bit faster, but it still has a lot of the detail. There are ship rosters with check boxes as they take damage. So very interesting system. I also have this volume 2, which is the Great War at Sea, the North and Baltic Seas. So these are very interesting games. Again, a whole, a slew of scenarios, same concept, operational game on an operational map with plotted movement, and then contact transferring to a sort of a battle board. And then I have this one, which is an update of the North Sea and Baltic Seas. This is Jutland. Has more scenarios in it, I believe, covering not just, well, it covers really the whole war, just different operational situations as well as specific battles. Anyway, I think that is pretty much all of my World War I collection. And surprised it took me 3 videos to cover all of this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this collection and maybe knowing a little bit of some of the things that make one game different from another. And as always, thank you for watching.